She is Lana Torre. She is with us in the third Saturday of every month. She is also a contributor to Property Source newspaper, and you have a guest with you today.
I do. I am so happy to have a dear friend. I've worked with Marge McKay from Crown Electric, lighting designer, premier in Rochester. She knows more about electrical situations, products, and applications than anybody I have ever worked with. We've worked together on many Homoramas. I've known her forever, and she's just brilliant. And so welcome, Marge McKay.
Good morning, Lana.
Hi, Marge. I wanted to talk to you because there's, I actually had a funny thing happen. One of my clients said to me, you'll never guess what I did. And I said, well, what did you do? And I hope she's listening today because she's in her 80s and she's a lovely woman. And she said to me, I just bought 3 cases of 100-watt 3-way bulbs to stash away.
Why is she stashing them?
What is the future of an incandescent bulb?
Well, that's a good question, Lana. Right now, we're in a kind of a transition period. These incandescent bulbs, the 100-watt, the 75, the 60, they will be phased out at some point. They're starting with the 100-watt bulb as of 2012 when all of the current stock is gone. They will be replaced. But that doesn't mean you need to go out and stock them or hoard them unless you want to hand them down to your children with your inheritance. What they have to do is they have to find a way to make that 100-watt bulb more efficient. Come out with a 72-watt bulb that gives you the same light as a 100-watt bulb. Perhaps go to an LED bulb. Perhaps go to a CFL bulb. Anything that's going to use less energy and give you the same lumen output. And lumens, that's what we're talking about. That's how much light you get.
Yeah. In California, they do it that way, if I'm not mistaken. There's no such thing as a 100-watt bulb. It's an 84 or something, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is a state-by-state thing. I thought it was a federal law going in to change the entire country.
It is. It will be. But California really is ahead.
Okay.
They're number 1. And New York State usually is about number 2, following right behind California.
Great. Where are we going to move, Steve?
I'm in Hawaii. We're just going to keep going.
So the issue is, I guess it's the controversy of lumens versus watts.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Watts is actually the amount of energy that you are using. When you turn on a 100-watt bulb, you are consuming 100 watts to get that amount of light that you're putting out. That amount of light is called the lumens. So when we're comparing different bulbs, it's not the watt we want to compare because we want to keep that as low as possible. What we want to compare is the lumens, the actual light that's emitted from these bulbs.
I think people don't know. I'd like to explain to our listeners the difference between a CFL, an LED, and incandescent, because the way our future will be changing in usage.
Well, before we even do that, why do we have to change? For crying out loud, the light bulb has been, Thomas Edison invented it. It's been great since day one. Why are we
because they're polluting.
They're polluting.
They are polluting. They're polluting patootie, aren't they?
Is that true, Marge?
Not that
the
bad.
bulb itself does not pollute, but the energy we're consuming does create pollution. It's the fossil fuels that we use to power our plants, that power our fixtures. That is what emits all that carbon dioxide, all those greenhouse gases into our environment. And that's what we need to cut back. Not to mention, if we don't want to be right behind California with rolling brownouts, we need to cut our energy consumption, and one of the easiest ways to do that is with our light bulbs.
So it's not the light bulb itself that's the issue. It's the manufacturer of the light bulbs.
Well, the incandescent bulb really is inefficient. And you're right, it's been around for forever since Thomas invented it. But it was never efficient.
You were on
in the
first name
place.
basis with Thomas
That's
Edison?
right. We in the lighting business, we're tight.
Yeah, go ahead.
So basically these bulbs, there's been room for improvement, but there hasn't been a push to improve that. And that's what they're trying to work on.
Okay. All right, and that leads into your question again there, Lana, about CFLs and...
CFLs. I mean, CFLs, well, they are the future, and they're getting better and better every year. But, the difference is, let's talk about it, the color of the light.
Well, CFLs have been known to be very cool, very blue, kind of like your old fluorescents in your office building in your schools where you grew up. And people have this notion that they're horrible, they don't like them, and they don't want them. And I used to believe that too. For years, I had none of them in my house. But as the technology has improved, so has the color of the bulbs. These bulbs are rated by Kelvin, which is a color temperature. And if you pick the bulb that you want color-wise, you have control over what type of bulb you put in your fixtures. Your incandescent bulbs usually run between 2,700 and 3,000 degrees Kelvin. And that's where the new CFLs are running for color, for the majority. But you can get different colors. You can get the 3,500 to the 4,100, which is a little bit bluer. And you can go between the 5,000 and the 6,500 range, which is very blue. And once you're around that 5,500, that's kind of your noon daylight. If you want to match your colors in your closet, that's actually the best color you could go with for color matching.
You're getting a little deep for me there.
Yeah.
You did bring it around.
And people like incandescent because, is it true? Because the light is warmer.
Yes.
Yes.
What about a black light?
They're great in the nightclubs.
Marge McKay from Crown Electric is with us, as well as designer Lana Torre. We're here till 10 o'clock this morning. Property Source Radio here at Sports Radio 950 ESPN. So we're not going to... Are we going to be a world of squiggly light bulbs eventually? Is that the deal here? Is that the bottom line?
The push for all your common bulbs will be the CFL right now. That is for the money, what you spend right now, the amount of energy that you're consuming and the amount of lumens that you're getting out. That's the best buy right now. Eventually, probably you're going to see LED.
Oh, really?
The future LED. And LED means what?
LEDs are light-emitting diodes.
So
I knew that.
I knew that. And a diode as compared
I don't know what a
to
diode
a
is.
filament?
Right, a filament or just the gases in the CFL bulbs.
And the cost? There's a huge cost difference.
I'm sure they
between a
cost.
diode.
I'm sure they cost more.
Oh, yeah.
Of course they do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything new costs more, just like the CFLs have come down in price. The LED bulbs will eventually come down in price, both when the sales start increasing and the quality.
Well, if everything new costs more, I'm going to start referring to myself as the new host of.
Hey.
Take a quick break. We're eager to find out what's new in lighting, what the new trends are. When we come back with Lana Torre and her guest, Marge McKay from Crown Electric, Pat Coyne, Alex, me, Steve Hausman. We'll be back in a couple minutes here. Stay with us on Property Source Radio, Sports Radio, 950 ESPN.